pumpkins, blueberries, and an angel. You'd think there's a lot going on Mars. Make yourself comfortable. The rocket is taking off. Let's take a look at the red planet to see what's going on. In 2004, NASA researchers who sent the Opportunity rover to Mars to learn more about this mysterious planet made a surprising discovery. Hundreds of small blue carbon spheres were found near the Endeavour crater, very rich in iron. These balls were spread out on the ground in a perfectly orderly fashion, which raised many questions about their origin. Renamed Martian blueberries, these balls created a wave of theories among scientists, who immediately started looking for explanations of their origin. Since then, dozens of theories have been battling and contradicting each other. Some scientists thought that the planet Mars could have contained water several thousand years ago, and that it disappeared with time. And who says water necessarily says evidence of life? This theory, described in a study in 2012, defended that these famous Martian blueberries had been formed by the flow of water between Martian rocks, which would bring them closer to the balls formed on Earth, as we find them on a beach in Mendocino County, California. But this theory has been banished by another discovery. These balls were only a few years old, since the wear found on them clearly demonstrates this. Recently, researchers from the Hawaii Institute of Geophysics and Paleontology were able to demonstrate that these blueberries are in fact pieces of meteorites that exploded when they entered the atmosphere of Mars. It still took scientists nearly 8 years to finally discover that these Martian blueberries have no link with the presence of life on Mars. Another disappointment for them. The good thing is that this astonishing discovery has nevertheless awakened their curiosity more and more. The European Space Agency has the Mars Express probe, which allows it to receive very frequent images of the red planet. Recently, the agency received some very surprising pictures, images collected from the south pole of the planet, which it wanted to make public to give people the opportunity to read them. And the least we can say is that as soon as these images were published, they did not dry up of various interpretations, sometimes even very zany. It must be said that they give free rein to the imagination of internet users, especially those who engage in pareidolia, a trend, or rather a process that consists in interpreting and associating an abstract form with a familiar form in patterns or textures. But the image taken by the probe seems to be anonymous, since the majority agrees that it represents an angel with wings surrounded by a halo. The ESA has described the shape, but it also provides scientific explanations. It argues that it is a complex geological and meteorological phenomena that have led to the formation of these drawings. It claims that the hand of the angel on the left is a vast pit of sublimation, a kind of characteristic structure that occurs when ice becomes gas and leaves empty pockets and depressions on the surface of the planet. As for the head of the angel and the halo that surrounds it, they are formed by impact craters, following the fall of meteorites. These impactors have dug the surface and have brought up the stratified deposits that made up the South Polar region. This astonishing yet fascinating discovery worried the ESA researchers a lot at first, since they had never seen such a shape on Mars before, despite the hundreds of pictures they received daily from the probe. Thanks to this, they still managed to bring explanations and to discover more elements, proving that Mars is far from being a dead planet. You're surfing the internet and you open the NASA website, looking for something exciting to brighten up your day, when by pure chance you come across a photo taken by the Curiosity rover. The picture is pretty clear. It shows several rocks half buried in the dusty earth. But what particularly catches your eye is what looks like a bone, specifically a tight bone. This rock looks suspiciously like a human femur, except that it's more crooked than straight, which has fueled many theories about the existence of an alien form. But don't get too excited, because NASA has issued a statement about this bone to calm the atmosphere. According to NASA, in order for a life form as complex as that of a human or a large fossil like this one to exist, it needs a lot of oxygen in its atmosphere. However, the planet Mars contains only a tiny amount of oxygen. In any case, there would be just enough to support the existence of a small life form such as microbes. So, you may be a little disappointed. You were expecting the big announcement. But at the same time, there's nothing reassuring about knowing that there are aliens on Mars, so it's rather good news. You had nevertheless your little thrilling and vibrant moment for a quarter of an hour. That's something. You are a great lover of extraterrestrial discoveries, and more particularly, a great enthusiast of the planet Mars. In 2015, many pictures that would have been taken from the red planet have made havoc on the net. You must surely be aware of that. Would you like to see some fascinating, but especially disturbing objects that have been found on the surface of this planet? You who like these things, I warn you that you will have chills. It seems that on Mars, giant mouse would have been seen, as claimed by the ufologists who have dissected the image. There would also be a bear cub that others see rather as a hybrid rodent. Other enthusiasts of Martian discoveries would have noticed the figure of an ancient god. For them, there is no doubt that Mars has already been visited by the Incas and the Assyrians, since near the crater is a head carved in stone, near which is an old piece of Inca wall. It is not finished. There would be, according to other net surfers, the presence of alien necessarily. Otherwise, it is not amusing. The site, the unsilent majority, declared to be convinced to have discovered an extraterrestrial dome on the planet. That proves then that they were built by someone or something. Otherwise, we also spoke about a spoon. Yes, giant spoon levitation, which would have been taken in picture by the rover Curiosity. This one must certainly have been used during the Martians' picnics. Back to seriousness now. Ufologists have assured that there was also a living woman on Mars despite the lack of oxygen, since they would have noticed the presence of a female silhouette. Otherwise, it could also be a well-made sculpture, which is not more reassuring. It's all very chilling, isn't it? After that, I'm sure you don't want to know much more about the red planet. Well, just now you thought you saw a femur, and it wasn't, but you keep on looking. You'll eventually find something strange on the photographs of Mars, which you've been scrolling through. Stop! Do you see what I see? It's amazing. You'd think it was a human skull. Doesn't it make you think of Darth Vader's helmet? Do you think he would have existed for real? Come on, we're going to be told again that we're doing a Pareo machine and that it is only a rock like any other. I think there are too many strange rocks on Mars, don't you think? Does all this give you the shivers? Come on, close this window. In any case, this skull does not bode well. In any case, let them tell us what they want. I'm sure you're convinced like me that there is life on Mars. Since the beginning of this video, you have heard several times that there could not be life on Mars, let alone planting. To grow plants you need water, and Mars has no water, at least not on its surface. But did you know that the red planet hides a lot of mysteries? When you find out what can be grown on Mars, you will be shocked. You should know that the Martian soil could become more fertile if we introduce bacteria. Yes, you heard me. Researchers in agronomy have succeeded in growing clovers on a simulation of Mars regolith. Indeed, even if the Martian soil is sterile and devoid of the essential elements to grow the smallest sprout, a study published in September 2021 has shown that it was possible to grow clovers by adding a small miracle ingredient, which is bacteria. The author of the study, Franklin Harris, an agricultural researcher at the University of Colorado, believes that this is the future of humanity, since it will become vital with the increasing population on Earth and the decline of cultivable land. It's true that when you think about the future of the Earth, you have a little anxiety that holds you by the throat. But to hear such good news, there is something to reassure you. Well, shamrocks are not the best tasting, but you'll get used to them in the long run. You've always heard about Martians. Proof of life and water on Mars. In short, sterile theories based on nothingness. But did you know that the red planet could make noise? Reach out and listen to this sound. It's Mars calling. The American Space Agency has recently published a sound clip during which we can hear a strange noise. The sound of metal rubbing, the sound of the Mars wind, the shocks of the rover, as well as the sound of its wheels moving on the arid ground. All this made a disparate mixture of deafening noises perceived by one of the two microphones that was initially intended to capture the sounds of the robot's entry into the atmosphere and its landing on Mars. NASA was kind enough to let us listen to the recording on its SoundCloud account. It's unpleasant to hear, I admit, but you don't have to listen to the whole recording. However, you should know that the fact that the noises are only those of the robot does not rule out the hypothesis that there could really be life on Mars. To be continued. Some time ago, a conspiracy theorist known as Neil Evans, a great enthusiast and researcher on the planet Mars, was doing his research when he got his hands on images exposing a group of objects on the surface of the planet Mars that extend 4 kilometers, as well as another angle that seems to show other parts of the area that seem to be watering areas for Martian animals. The theorist, who has always claimed that Mars holds thousands of secrets, claims that this is one more piece of irrefutable evidence that there is life on the red planet, in an environment that is whole and conducive to their survival. Evans studied the section of the map and compared it to bird's eye views of places on Earth. Although the images are in very low resolution, he points out that we can nevertheless see clear water lines, currents, vegetation, and life forms present around the water source. The theorist posted these images on his YouTube channel, for which he received thousands of views and comments. The internet users have been captivated, almost convinced by what he says. To support his theories, Evans says that we only know about Mars what NASA and space agencies around the world allow us to know, and that there is much more to Mars than we think. For the US Space Agency, the red planet has no atmosphere since it suffered solar storms from the sun billions of years ago, and it has been stripped of its water and oceans, so it cannot support life in any form. According to many people, however, Mr. Evans does not put forward any solid proof, and he would most certainly suffer from pareidolia. The most skeptical think that these objects are simply related to geological features of the surface of Mars and nothing else. The theorist will not have succeeded in convincing more than that. He will still need a lot of work to be more convincing. So, did these Martian discoveries scare you a little bit? Tell us what you think about all this in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to put a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything of our next contents.